Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today our group will be discussing about Lgbt, the downfall of civilization, and our group consists of 4 members, which are Redza, Naim, Zuhair, Ahmad, Haikal, and me, Muhammad Ariff.
What is LGBT? LGBT is an abbreviation for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender. And according to NECASI Foundation, it is a term that is used for expressing all-inclusive love and gender expression. Alright, now for the ideal situation that we're going to talk about is that Islam is a religion that emphasizes on love and to spread the message to love everyone, that includes romantically but for different gender. And Islam against the idea of homosexuality because there is a lot of cases where the past ummah has been punished because of this activity. However, the reality is because of the rampant advancements of social media, the freedom of speech has become too extreme where a lot of people can preach their agenda that includes the idea of LGBTQ, and that poisons the mind of young Muslims and it causes them to support the agenda even though it is prohibited by Islam. I have put a picture in this slide where there is a Muslim that joined the LGBTQ parade, and this showed that Muslims nowadays, especially the younger ones, are becoming more and more open about their supports to LGBT, and this is clearly a dangerous sign for the coming Muslim.
Three objectives of this research. Firstly, we want to know how social media affects Muslim youth view on LGBT. Secondly, we want to know how LGBT can impact the civilization. And the last one, we want to know how Islamic teaching cannot mitigate the growing acceptance of LGBT among the Muslim. Social media has become a common platform for people to spread their ideas to a large community since majority of world population are using it, especially the youth. Thus, we want to know whether our Muslim youth has been influenced by the LGBT ideology that globally treated as an acceptable ideology in social media. In the past year, LGBT has rapidly becoming a normal ideology to exist in the community across the globe. Thus, we want to know whether the movement is giving negative impacts to the civilization, particularly to the Muslim world. Islam prohibits the acts that are being promoted in LGBT movements like homosexual activities. However, some Muslim communities are becoming more acceptable to this movement, and in the worst case scenario, they are the ones that promote and practice it.
Moving on, for methodology, we use qualitative survey method by interviewing 10 people in the campus. Now, let's review the question. Number 1, what do you understand about LGBT? Number 2, what is your view on the existence of LGBT among the new generation? Everyone has their own understanding since they have different level of education background. Number 3, what is your view about LGBT fighting for their right to be treated equally? The purpose of this question is to know people's attitudes toward social justice, human rights, equality, and understanding of the challenge that faced by the LGBT individual. Number 4, what is the religious view of LGBT? And number 5, how does society accept LGBT? It is to provide insight into how different faiths and traditions to approach question of this sexual orientation and to gain a better understanding of how society as a whole perceives and treats the LGBT community.
So from the interview, we found that most of them understand that LGBT is stand for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender that have sexual attraction between the same gender. Next, when asked about their views on LGBT, most of them disagree and feel worried about it and want it to stop. However, on their religious view, certainly most of them said it is haram and prohibited in Islam. Next, when asked about the LGBT trying to get their rights to be treated equally, most of them feel that they also have the right to be treated equally, but based on their demands. And lastly, most of them feel that society is against it because of their religion, but not fully hating them. And lastly, most of them feel that society is against it because of their religion, but not fully hating them. And lastly, most of them feel that society is against it because of their religion, but not fully hating them. And lastly, most of them feel that
As a conclusion, LGBT is like a thorn in the flesh, and it will ruin our civilization, and we can see it already nowadays. It is impossible for us to build a good civilization if LGBT taking place in the people's heart. We need to learn the lesson from the people of Lu's story, because Allah can do the same for us in many ways, and of course it will be catastrophic because we ignore what the Prophet has teach us. We need to lend our hand to the people in need, because LGBT movement is a big harm for them, and it is a way to stop LGBT to stunting people's mind and to stop us to build a good civilization.